Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Welcome again, folks, to the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host, and my associate here is John Leuenberger, and we're going to be getting right into issues right up front. We don't have time to do spending too much time about anything at this point in time, but normally what we will be starting, we will always start from a national perspective. We figure that we just haven't gotten as much of the news we want. There's some things that are sitting out there hanging, and I'm talking about the president's cabinet members. Once he makes those appointments, we'll have something more to talk about.
Once the Senate confirms them, then we'll be able. Once the Senate confirms them,
but that's not. But
he's made the appointments.
Yeah, but you're the legalese and fact checker. But
no, he's appointed them.
Yes.
The Senate is taking their sweet time confirming his picks.
Well, I like
by
that.
Now, in the Obama administration, they had already been confirmed.
Okay,
in Biden's administration, they had already been confirmed.
Okay.
In Trump's first administration, they had already been confirmed.
Okay.
This administration is being held up by the Senate in their confirmation hearings.
But you would agree that every vote, every person has a vote, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so
everyone
saying,
18 and older is given a vote.
Right.
Yes,
so, and we are the people, right? A government of the people, by the people, and for the people, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so when he was elected, he won the election. You got my point? I mean, don't get me wrong, whether you voted for him or not voted for him, to a certain degree, he's got issues that he said he can do. And that we're a democratic society, point blank. And
we're a constitutional republic.
Okay, well, that's too complicated for me. I make that. Look at our guest; he's got to get in this now. But we want to keep him good and hot because he's got some things. We want him to get to the table.
I'll call us a partocracy.
Oh, is that what it was?
A rule by a political party.
We better get right into it. John and I love it. He's the fact checker, folks.
Okay.
He's the fact checker.
He can check that fact.
I'm not that sophisticated. I just got one vote. Anyway, but the bottom line is that you're right. But my point is that there's a lot of things that are on the table. There are all kinds of issues.
Oh yeah.
And so we want to stick to an issue that we started out in the first show. We wanted to bring you back on, and we're talking about the gentleman he ran for mayor of the city of Portland, and we've got all kinds of issues with that, and folks are trying to figure out, how do we resolve these other issues of whether or not we're going to be focusing on issues. It's kind of like being an old Marine Corps type guy. It's like a boot camp situation. These folks are learning, and we got knowledge on the show here at the Oregon Voters Digest, and we want to help them out. We want to help the whole system out, for that matter. So naturally, where do you start? You start right at the top, the mayorship, because that's supposed to be the leading person, but even that has an issue. So you'll find that out. But the bottom line, folks, is that I thought we'd go on and invite Mr. McAllahan. He ran for mayor, and if you missed the first show, you can Google it on YouTube, and you can check it out, and you can see that we've got a lot of things we have. In fact, he's so important. We're going to invite him periodically to come on and talk about the issue, because the whole new form of government needs help. And we've got to work it out, and so that's what we're going to be doing. And we're talking to the voters. We represent the voters, and we're saying point blank on the show is that we got problems. We got to go through another election process in 2 years, and we've got to get more responsible. We got to get more people. We got to make the position more responsible.
Yep.
The people are going to have the kind of background to be able to take us through these areas. Okay, things are changing on the federal level, which has a major impact on us locally here. And so consequently, that's what we're going to be doing. So we want to have him here because we've interviewed this gentleman here at the Voters Digest when he ran for office, or even beforehand. We met him, and bottom line, he has background also. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the time out now to talk about his background, where he's from, and all this other stuff. Get some background material. And then after we've done that, then we're going to invite him over periodically to talk about specific issues. You know what I'm saying? And we're not trying to slight anything with reference to the elected person, Keith Wilson, is just that we feel that we're going to help him out too, and because he's not making the decision. In all due respect, under the old leadership, this is basically where he ran. He ran along Metline, and he was very familiar with that piece. And we need to know that. We need to keep the old in, so we can go forward. In simple terms, so to speak. So with that, that's what we're going to do. John, welcome back.
Thank you.
Sounds great. And as you know, John is our fact checker, so he's always making sure we get the things right. And Callahan, he's the guy that you're going to be seeing here periodically as we talk about the city issues. I wanted to get that input. Fair?
Yep.
Okay, good. Now, when we left off, talking about what your platform was when you were in a solution to those issues aspect of it. And like I said at the beginning, folks can go back and check out YouTube, and you can hit the show, and you can look at the show. On the other hand, and especially the media folks, hopefully they can get involved too. We welcome them to get involved. Steve Dunn, Channel 2, Channel 8, Channel 6, and Channel 12. They have these kind of forums aspect of it, and I would encourage you that if you're interested to give this gentleman a call. We left his name and his phone number on the last show, and we're going to be doing this on an ongoing basis, and give him and talk to him. He'd be more than glad to share with you. Because you do represent communicating to the people. We're going to try to get that communication out as much as possible. Oregonian, we're going to try to see if we can get that. In fact, I'm looking at John, and maybe we might be able to get this stuff over to the media across the board, radio, TV, all that kind of good stuff. And just send them, just email them, and tell them that it's a newsy piece of what we're doing, and then we'll just keep doing that if it works. And if they don't want to deal with it, that's fine. Okay, with that. So with that, why don't we just go on and just get right in with you, sir?
You want me to give you a nutshell on my background?
I want you to get your mic, and then John and I might intervene, and he will do that, no problem, and I will too.
Yep.
But we're just going on and give me your background, and day one, so to speak.
Okay, but day one was right here in Portland.
Okay.
1943.
Born here?
Yeah, October 19th.
Really?
Yep.
Where'd you go to school?
Yeah. Raised in the area, moved 12 times.
Okay.
Ended up in Tualatin.
Okay.
And graduated from high school, went to college a bunch of times, and ended up in 1969 hitchhiking to Panama, and then hitchhiking to Alaska. Mm-hmm. Spent 35 years in Alaska, married a lady from down here,
really?
And 4 children in Alaska, mm-hmm. and a few accomplishments. Took 9 cases to the state Supreme Court. And
what was your major in college? What was your major in college?
Oh, I started in forestry,
okay.
And then I went into business. And when it came to graduation time, I went to a counselor, and the counselor told me, well, you can go 2 more terms and you can graduate with political science, mm-hmm. or psychology, or you can go 3 more terms and graduate, and I think it was business and something else. Mm-hmm. And so I thought about it, and I thought, what are you going to do with a poli-sci degree? Mm-hmm. You're going to teach. Do you want to teach? No, I don't want to teach. There's no science to politics.
Okay.
It's all follow the money,
okay.
Even back then, So no, I can't do that. So I quit a term before I graduated.
Okay, all right.
Never graduated.
Okay.
But then, like I say, went to Alaska, and I decided at a certain point that filing litigation was my deal, and one of my accomplishments up there, first time in the history of the United States an official ballot had been declared illegal. We had 2 illegal primaries in Alaska, and I asked the court to declare the generals illegal, and no, they couldn't do that. So it's interesting, in a democracy, mm-hmm. That's what we call it, but we had 2 illegal primaries, and of course the generals are illegal, so that means the legislature that met all the laws they passed, everything is all illegal. Okay. Okay. Anyway, this is America. Okay, and down here, I won in the Ninth Circuit in 2018 when they declared Portland's camping ordinance unconstitutional, and Mayor Wheeler said he'd ignore it. And I'm going back there as we speak. I like that term. As we speak, I'm writing my briefs to the Ninth Circuit because they violated me again like 15 times. And I lost in the lower court, so I'm going to the upper court and saying, the judge ignored photographic evidence and he ignored 11 issues that happened to me. So, but I'm asking in this particular sequence the court to declare Portland's camping ordinance is exempt from due process now.
Okay.
There's no due process involved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and due process, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but they have to give you a notice that you violated a law, and so you know what law you violated,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to give you the opportunity to appear before an impartial tribunal before any property is confiscated.
Okay.
So I want the court to declare Portland's camping ordinance unconstitutional on the basis of due process. They have to set up a process, okay, and that it's unconstitutional because it offers no language for the confiscation of private property. Private property was confiscated from me at least 20 different times, and I've always tried to get it back, and I've never gotten it back. One time, they gave me an address of a place that didn't exist. I love that. Oh, yeah, I stored my stuff there, but it's a game with me now.
Okay.
And I've never gotten it back. And so on those two bases, they need to stop the sweeps. The sweeps are killing a person a day in Portland. These people are human, okay? They're not being treated as such. I've traveled 36 countries. Everywhere, humans have a home. It might not be much. In Djibouti, one of the poorest countries on earth, they were living in the garbage dump, and there were hoops of sticks, and they tied plastic between the hoops of the sticks so they had a home. Everybody has a home, and when you steal somebody's home, which they have done to me a number of times, it's devastating for most human beings. And they wonder why people are wacky on the streets. You go 3 days without sleep, you're certifiably insane. You wonder why people die of overdoses. Here's an experiment I love, and hey, people, listen to this one, okay? The best I've ever heard. They took rats and they put them in a cylinder with enough water where they couldn't get out, and they drowned. Kept track of them. Once they started giving up, they took them out and dried them off. And the average was 16 hours. Some of them that were dried off, they put right back in. You know how long they lasted? Guess.
Day?
60 hours. 5 times as long. That applies to us, too. Because they had hope. Okay? Well, you take somebody's hope away from them, they don't want to be here. Heck with this world, man. I want to jam some shit, man, and get out of it.
Yeah.
And they don't intend to die, but certainly the quality is insufficient. So they do. And it is a unfortunate situation in our culture, and it's basically because those that are in charge don't know how to solve the problem. And so we're stuck with this, and it's all over the country. I was up in Seattle just yesterday, and what's happening now since Wheeler is intensifying this in the last 6 months, the people are sleeping with blankets. Okay, they're carrying a blanket on their back, right? And when it gets to be night, and boy, I tell you, I had this experience once. Okay, try and find a place where you're going to lay down, where you're going to be safe. And when you lay down, your body goes, man, I ain't going to go to sleep. No, I don't want to go to sleep. So hey, it is unconscious, the pain and suffering that is done by this sweep thing. So that's one thing I want to stop that. So writing my appeal, and it's due on the 10th before I go off to Mexico to get away from all this stuff. You know, but, and another thing I want to go back to in Alaska, what I did is started a free food program with a bicycle and a trailer.
You did that. What time? When was that? We have a tape on that.
When was that?
We have a tape on that.
Wow, man, geez, you're going to...
But we got a tape on it. We got a disc. We'll play that at some other point in time.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know, it was in the 80s, and it was because I was poor. Okay, we were poor, and I didn't have enough money for food, and so I went dumpster diving. Wow, man, I got 10 5-pound blocks of cheese. Whoa, wow. You know, geez, wow, man. You know, so anyway, when I had this dumpster, I went in regularly, and they'd throw meat out there, you know, and it was good. And so they were going to close it because they didn't want all these going in their dumpster, right? So I went to the head of the organization, well, the sub-head vice president, and no, we can't do that, right? You know, and so I said, okay, you know, and I walked off, and I thought about it for a while, and I got dressed up in a suit about a year later, and then went in as Reverend Michael O'Callahan. Okay, and I am a minister, but in a suit, okay, and I must have talked for an hour to that guy until he said, okay, I'll let you have one store in produce. Okay, so I picked that store up with my bike and my trailer for about 3 or 4 months. I went back to him and said, hey, look, okay, I'm doing okay, you know, this works. Okay, I'll give you 2 more stores. Okay, 2 more stores with the bike and the trailer. I didn't have a car then.
Just picking up food.
Picking up produce.
Produce.
And kind of there were a couple of stores that were outlying, so I'd start there and work my way. And then after I picked up 2 stores, there was a senior center down at the bottom of our hill. And so I could offload a bunch of stuff at the senior center, right? And then I'd ride the other stuff up the top of the hill, and some friends built a box about 4 foot wide and about 8 foot long with a lid, and I'd put it in there. You know, and people would come by our alley and get food. And so eventually what it ended up being is all the stores and all the departments, and we had 82 volunteers. Nobody was paid. We had no budget. Nobody needed any money. And we only had one rule, and that rule was you miss one pickup, you're dropped. So as a manager, we had 3 turnovers a year.
Wow.
So I had to do something.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they'd pick up, people, our volunteers would pick 500 to 800 pounds of food up each week. And so they'd have their circuit that they'd go to, and they'd drop all this food off to. Every social service agency in that town had the brand of the store we were picking up from on products that they were giving away. You know, so it just went all throughout the community. And we ended up giving away 1,500,000 pounds of food a year. You know, and that could go on here in Portland too, you know, but geez, man, you know, now you can't get in. I used to be able to walk in, you know, talk to people. You know, you had to get past a secretary or something like that. Now you can't get into a building without ID. If you got a meeting, no, I don't have a meeting. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, so it's a different world. But if you're in a position of power, then you can advocate for this kind of stuff. But there's a lot of food that's thrown away. We shouldn't have anybody hungry in this country. You know, so that was a fun thing. And then kind of a branch out of that is one year in 1990, there was one hatchery was throwing away 10 million pounds of fish. Hey man, we can use some of that fish. You know, so I went to this little harbor that there was out of Anchorage, and geez, man, it took 3 days till I found somebody with a $500,000 boat that would donate everything. We had to bring some crew, and so we went out. Took us about 5 hours to motor out there, and with a set net. I don't know if you're familiar, but anyway, set a net, got 350,000 pounds of salmon. and loaded it up in his boat and unloaded it and got a truck. We had to pay rental on the truck and fuel, but had a truck we could load them on in containers and took it into Anchorage. And these are what pink salmon, which everybody in Alaska is, they're river lice, man. Nobody wants who wants pink salmon? Came into Anchorage, rounded the corner, a friend had done publicity. 2/3 of the way, all the way around the block, was a line 4 deep. We gave those away in 45 minutes.
Wow.
So that started salmon. We did a salmon giveaway down here in, what was it, 93, 94? I've got the tape on it. Mm-hmm. It's on my website, mayormikeoc.com. You can go
Say
there.
that again. Was it?
Yeah, Mayor, MAYORMIKEOC.com. Go there. You can look it up. It's under done deeds. I got a bunch of done deeds there that I accomplished. And I want to make that clear. I was a spearhead. I couldn't have done it without all the support of all of these people. Mm-hmm. Just because you got a good idea,
right,
if you haven't got a bunch of people to support, you ain't going nowhere.
So you spent the time to educate them.
Well, they care. Everybody cares, and you need a platform for people to advocate that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, that's a few of the things I did up there, and raised 4 kids and did all kinds of other stuff too. Mm-hmm. But then come down here, and I'm born and raised down here and got family down here and friends down here now. Been down here for 20 years. And like I say, build alternative housing. And something I discovered is I'm rich because I'm poor. Okay? Everybody wants to get rich, and hey, that's whatever you want to do, okay? But I started that food program because I was poor, okay? And you try raising 4 kids with having all that food, no cost. The only thing I bought was like sugar and honey and soy sauce and maybe some mayonnaise or something like that. All the rest of the stuff got from that food program. And now I'm living in a place, like I say, 8x8, super insulated. Yeah, and my heating bill is 11 cents a day.
What's that?
11 cents a day for heating and cooking propane. That's all it costs me. Okay? And I haul my own water. I use 5 gallons every 2 weeks.
You're doing this now?
Right now. As we speak, I get to say.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, people are going to get excited about that piece because, boy, we got PGE. We got PGE, and we got a couple of entities that have just raised their prices on.
Oh, yeah. And here's something I didn't do in my campaign, but I think is very important. Okay? We all live on stolen land. I think we can all realize that, okay? And, I can understand how a group wants their land back, okay? But for me, in my position, everybody has the right to a piece of free land, okay? This land back, let's rip off the banks. Okay. Okay.
That's a tough one, that one.
Oh, hey, you got it right, but it's the right thing to do. Okay. Everybody should have the right to build a home on a piece of land that you can't take away from them. And it's not true, and I love a meme of there's a bushman in Africa, with a hat and all that kind of stuff, and the gorilla's got his arm around him. And he says, you're the only one that pays to live here. Yeah, okay? And the system's set up that way, and it's private ownership of property that has done that.
There'll be another.
That's another
piece we'll work with.
There we go.
I want to get us back on our background piece.
You want to get back to the background. Well, like I say, I'm in the Ninth Circuit now.
Okay.
And I was there before, and I talked earlier about starting Right to Dream.
Right.
Right now now I'm just living on that free piece of property. That's another thing, but that was kind of
You got that piece, yeah, you got that piece.
Well, here's an interesting thing about my life, and it's not like I planned any of this stuff.
Yeah,
okay, I just started doing it, and do what you want to do. That's the most important thing, and this has all been a benefit of that. And after a while, you get 15 years logged up, and you look back and you go, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You break your trail, and then you keep following it, and so, that's kind of what I'm doing, and trying to make a difference.
What about that legal background? I mean, where'd you pick that up?
Just, hey, like I say, I took 9 cases to the state Supreme Court, so I did a lot of other cases in the lower court. So from my perspective, I have some experience.
You learned.
And the one thing I learned that I can say publicly is the logic judges use escapes me.
Okay.
Isn't that nice?
Okay, yeah.
Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
Like the logic the Supreme Court used in saying the primaries are illegal, the generals are legal. I mean, how can you do that? But they did. And here's another thing, the incarceration of the Japanese, I'm studying that because by me, that's what they're doing with the unhoused. Same kind of thing, only they're not putting them in camps, concentration camps, but then they called them internment. But here's the history of that, because I looked into it. They passed that law, you live within 120 miles of the ocean, you're Japanese, you got to go. This guy came out of law school at the University of Washington, lived in Hood River, says, no, you can't do that, no, my constitutional rights, you can't do that. Oh, really? Here's what they did. You didn't show up at the camp, did you? No, I didn't show up at the camp. Oh, that means you forfeit your citizenship. You need to show up at the camp. Next. That's what I mean by the logic judges use escapes me. Okay? And that was a shame on our country. That was just absolute. And they did the same thing to the Aleuts out on the Aleutian chain, but there wasn't a law to do it, and they weren't Japanese, but they did it anyway, and they put them in abandoned canneries in southeast Alaska, and they took their medical supplies for the war effort. Okay? You don't hear about this stuff, but it's fun to learn about it,
Well, in all due respect, man, you are a learned person. I mean, I noticed that when we started chatting, if you will, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on and share who you are.
Yeah.
And no one needs to interpret, you understand what I'm saying, what you are through conversation.
I laid out.
But I think, that's why I'm saying it would be a benefit to the city, for that matter, if you were part and parcel of the committee of trying to solve these risks. We're part of that because we're sharing something. But the idea is
right.
You need to be at another tier right now.
Well, hey, I talked on your earlier show about Portland People polling, and the PD Express is what it's called, and it should be up and running now if you want to sign up, okay? And here's the hook, okay? We want this to be a platform for people to advocate popular ideas. So here's the deal. You live in Portland, you sign up and you register, and ideas are put before the group. And you can like the idea, dislike the idea, or have a conversation about it, what's good, what's bad about it. If it gets enough likes, it goes for a polling. And the polling involves 1 for yes, 2 for no, and 3 for I want to make this happen. So if it passes the polling by 65% or more, whoever pushed the 3 button is notified of a meeting at a time and a place.
Interesting.
So the people who want to make it happen, show up.
Is this a visual piece or is it visual, newspaper, radio,
website?
It's a website.
It's a website.
Yeah. PD Express, and it's PDXPRESS.
Check that out, John. Check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he said so it's up now, but at the time of taping, it's not up yet.
Right,
so,
not
yeah,
the tape,
but yeah.
Okay. Well, John, check it out.
Yeah.
And we'll see whether or not we might be able to support that piece. And you know, put a piece up here promoting it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and the deal is we need to spread the word. I want to get at least 500 people on there before we start this process. You know, but by me, this could evolutionize. I don't want a revolution, man. Revolutions involve guns, you know, and they got more guns than we got. They're organized. We're not, man. So, no.
But I like your point, because in all due respect, on our new form of government, you know, when you start talking about how do you communicate all of these entities and to be able to focus on a specific issue.
Okay, how you do that is all these people that came to this meeting, this is my take on it, and I've done a lot of these advocacies that have evolved into solutions, okay? You're all guerrillas, okay? There's no organization here. We don't have a hierarchy here. You're all guerrillas. You all have your own path to find this solution, okay? We're going to meet in a month. Everybody tell me what you've been, where you've done, who you talked to, and what you did. We'll all get together like that. And so when everybody comes together and they all start talking with each other about what's been done, boy, pretty quick. We had one up there where they wanted to clear cut because there was a large beetle kill. In fact, our senator sent somebody up from the lower 48 to manage this process. Okay? What we found out with beetle kills, and you'll find this is going on in the lower 48 now too, is that beetle kills happen after a 8-year continuous drought. Because what happens is that the beetles, when there has been continuous drought, they bore holes in the tree and lay their eggs. If there is enough water, then the tree will create enough sap to cover the borehole, which will suffocate the eggs. If there is not enough water, the eggs will mature and grow and spread. And so, and if you harvest, the beetles will spread. So we started up, my partner and I, okay, just two of us, you know, because hey, this isn't right. They can't do that, okay? And we found these small groups. Oh, we live out here. Oh, we have a recreational cabin out here. And all these guerrillas went in Forest Service, and the people in Forest Service feedback we got, hey, I moved up to the lower 48 because I don't like this clear cutting or logging. I like forest management, okay? So they became our sources for the information. They would leave their books open to certain pages of certain things that were happening, so we knew when we got back together. So we shut it down in 1 year, and he was transferred out, okay? That's the power that you can have with 20 guerrillas. Okay, because they all do their own thing. Some people wanted to hold up protest signs along the road. Some people went down where they did the first clear cut and hold up protest signs so all the cars that were driving by could see who was responsible for that. You know, and hey, having all those guerrillas out there really makes it work. So you talk about how does that happen? All these guerrillas go out like this, and these guerrillas have friends. You know, and so there's the feedback, and there is the reinforcement, and they go out in another month. So, you know, you can get things done, but you need a platform.
Well, but like I said, you know, the whole purpose of what we're trying to do now is trying to come up with solutions to the issues that we're with here in the Portland metropolitan area.
Right.
You know what I mean? And whether it be guerrillas, monkeys, whatever, or people or voters or whatever, the bottom line is we got issues here.
Yep.
And when you start thinking about this new government piece, we had a format, if you will, that basically they put together this committee. The mayor had so many selectees. Each commissioner's had a selectees, and they talked about this whole issue of a new government.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of loose ends. And
but
then
it's looking good.
But the people, but at the same time, but that's okay. That's part of our process, so to speak. But our point is that they missed it. They missed it, and so we're just trying to bring it back to the table. We got to bring it back to the table, because it's disrupting other things, because we have to have services.
Oh,
Like you say,
absolutely.
you got to have services, and you just can't have everybody's doing the argumentative thing, and we got problems over here, and then it just keeps going and going, just building and building, and we get nowhere. You know what I mean? And because I look at the city from the standpoint of it's almost like everybody pays rent. Because the lights have to come on, the streets have to be repaired, all that good stuff aspect of it, and we've done that, so to speak. But now the way things are looking, we've got folks that are coming in changing things without having that get together to realize what the problem is. We got a problem.
Well, we'll see. I don't see. I haven't seen much action out of this process yet.
Well,
you've seen the Keith's things.
But that's why. But that's why we're talking to you.
Right.
That's why we're discussing this thing. We don't see. We gotta do something, because just like I said, we got a budget that we gotta live with.
And boy, it's going to blow up with this.
No, but the disrupting. But my point, the budget is disrupted now in regards to what we started out with under this. Putting this new form of government aspect of it, and so these new folks, and then you look at the process. How do you get the committee? They put a political process to get to the committee, and in most cases, in all due respect, the way I look at it as a layperson, is all about the dollars. $150,000 per head. Applying with a secretary. Then we had an election over the process, and the folks we chose said, that's not enough money. I need another person. For what? You haven't done anything yet.
Well, then they did the emergency spending over $4 million
yes.
for another person.
Yes.
It was absolutely insane.
Yes. And we just went through this whole piece about defunding the police piece.
Right.
You got me? And in all due respect, we made it kind of a black thing, so to speak, with Joanne Bowman, who happens to be an African American aspect of it, and they focused on her.
Sure.
As far as defunding the police, but that wasn't the case. You had a mayor there. The mayor's in charge. He had to bring the issue to the table. He basically got a couple of votes, and he had 3 votes. But we made it a minority thing, and here we go again, adding fire to the fuel of the racism thing.
No.
We can't afford to live in that kind of environment anymore.
Well, and
shouldn't.
As of right now, PPB is understaffed. Considering
45,
well, remember they were defunded, right? So understaffed before they were defunded. Now they're, from my understanding, they have a bigger area to cover. They used to have a smaller area to cover. Now they have a bigger area to cover with less police officers. They're still understaffed, and they're expected to cover that larger area with less officers and less funding. And how are we supposed to do that going into a new fiscal year where they're going to have their budgets cut even further, with a city council and mayor that just gave more money to themselves with a budget that they don't have? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, the bottom line is who's paying for it.
Well, now I have a solution. Okay?
Okay.
Very radical solution. Okay? This prohibition on drugs is woefully inadequate and will never work. Okay, a friend of mine brought up this argument, which is 100% valid. They can't stop drugs in prisons, which is the most secure environment they have on earth. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're not going to stop drugs. Okay, let's reap the profit. Okay, I want to set up a place, buy the pink. Okay, everything is legal in there. Okay, there's shoot-up rooms. You know, we have Narcan, we have paddles. Okay, and we have a pharmacist, we have a chemist. Okay, our drugs are pure. Okay, and we produce them inexpensively. We sell them at street value. Okay, so you know, we're going to take a lot of this shootings, crimes, competition between gangs, etc., off of the street, and we're going to put it in an environment that is secure, relatively, I should say, had preceded about the prisons, but in this environment, we're going to have a lot of security. Okay, there's not going to be any crimes committed. Also, we're going to have prostitution here. Okay, and the prostitutes are going to be clean, and they're not going to be murdered on the streets like they are now. Okay, they're not safe. And this is like Irma Bombeck said, the second oldest profession. Motherhood was the second oldest profession. Yeah. So, hey, let's grow up, okay? This is the Puritan ethic from back in the 1700s, and they all came here 1600s. Okay? Look, let's be mature about it. Okay? And let's reap the profit off of it. Okay? That profit is huge. Okay, we get half of the cut off the prostitutes right out of the gate. Okay, they're all clean, they're all checked up. We have doctors. So you're going to be safe going here. Okay, and one of the things, I was in Phuket, I think they call it Phuket, but that was a Vietnam retreat for a lot of the vets when the war was going on in Thailand. And, a lot of open sexual activity going on there. That's a pretty good way to put it. All varieties, and to see it in the open environment, there are a lot of people all over the world that are sexually frustrated that go there, and I'm glad that there is a place where people that are sexually frustrated have a place to release. But then again, it should be in a secure environment, and that environment is anything but secure. Well,
those like you said, that's another issue.
Yeah, that's another issue. I don't want Portland to turn into the Las Vegas of Oregon.
That's already there.
I think
we want to just focus on the Portland situation. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't want Portland.
The new form of government. The fact of the matter is that you put that first organized camping homeless situation off of Burnside.
Yeah, right to dream.
And then you ask yourself, well, where is that today, and why hasn't it expanded?
Well, it has expanded. It's changed. When we were there, basically everybody moved on property, right? And we had a board of directors, and after a while the board of directors said, we need a place for people to sleep over. So that they can have a place to sleep, because they're out on the street, and here, we're being kind of selfish here just for us.
And how long has that been existing?
Occupy, same time, 12 years ago was Occupy.
Doing that same program?
Yeah, Occupy took the heat off of us, okay? Because everybody's focused on Occupy, and we were down here.
To the system, so it's been in place. And I guess the point I'm making is, here we got a new mayor. I mean, basically, and he got elected for something, and he had to have some sort of a platform. And he had his platform was basically, I've been involved in this issue for quite some time, and I think the solution to the whole issue is to do my thing. And he got elected. That's what he got on. But the fact of the matter is, folks are crying, well, are you going to be able to do this in a year?
Yeah. Well, Wheeler also said he was going to eliminate the unhoused.
Well, he didn't.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm just asking you. I mean, you said you went back 12 years and did this other piece.
Yeah.
And yet yours is still there.
It's still going on, but let me regress. The first thing that, who was the mayor, Sam Adams, did, is that they fined the property owner $3,000 a month for having an illegal recreational campsite. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is the kind of support we got from the city. Okay, but then the city came, negotiations with the property owner, and the site was moved from there over to the Moda Center. They're presently over in the Moda Center, and I did a tour of that, and they got 16 people living on site that basically manage the process of having 70 people a night sleep over there. And so they do it without any government funding. So if Wilson is looking for a pattern to replicate, that's one right there.
Well, he uses the churches.
Certainly.
The ministry.
And I appreciate his optimism.
Okay.
Let me put it that way.
I got you. But you see what I'm saying? But he well, that's where we are.
Right, yeah.
I mean, the first piece is this piece that we're talking about. That's why you're here today. Yeah. We're talking about you've got something to say, and he's struggling. In fact, we're all struggling.
Yeah,
we're all struggling.
And the solution is, one of the solutions for the unhoused is to set up self-governing camps of 25 or smaller. have a community agreement that all have taken nonviolence communication training, and they can set up their own organization and be responsible for all inflow and outflow. They got to be responsible for water there and electricity there and garbage there. They got a little bit of money. They can pay for that stuff. They can get an outhouse there. They got to take care of their own stuff and have a community agreement, because you take 25 people and you put them on a 50 by 100 lot anywhere, it's going to affect the community. So they need to compensate for that.
Could this fit with the ministry, the churches?
I've never.
You've never done the churches. I guess my point is that we got Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon. Okay, and this is basically, they've got an organization.
Right.
And, every so often you might see where a church gets involved in the whole issue of homelessness and this, that, and the other. And I'm just saying, yours is an organized one going back years, and it works at that small deal. Well, it looked like to me they could probably look at that situation. That means it's kind of like saying so in the words, that would be the boot camp. You've gone through that process. And as opposed to going through all this round and round, we got to think about money and where it's going to go, and going to the church, the liabilities, and on and on and on and on. And if we got situations where we might be able to use that one piece, your piece sounds great. If it's already existing, we've got something on the table.
Yeah,
okay?
the trail's been broken.
And if the churches want to get involved in the deal, in all due respect, I would say to Keith, point blank, you need to talk to this guy. And then the churches, get the churches to meet with this guy and have some discussions about the piece, and see whether or not they already got the roof and this, that, and the other. They got the people. But I'm just saying, if it could work, fine. And if it can't work, then hey man, you better find yourself a new mousetrap. You know what I mean?
Well, I like to do myself. I just like doing things.
Yeah.
Instead of going to other people and asking for them, I like when people come to me and say, hey, let's do this, rather than putting the burden on some other group. That's why I like the independent, standalone 25 people or more, and you need some kind of government interface with that. But you remember Dignity Village?
Oh, yeah.
That was 25 years ago, and it's still going on now. But one of the things that government did to them, and this is a few years ago, is that they said you got to put in this elaborate electrical system that costs you, I think they said it was like $35,000. Just a minute, man. These people, $35,000, what kind of code is that? And another thing that the city did to them right out of the gate is you have to have $1 million insurance policy for people who come on the property, not for the people who are on the property. So they got to go out and get this insurance policy for this. The city puts undue burdens on these groups. And and basically from my perspective, it's a social issue, and it's us and them, and hierarchy, and the rich and the poor kind of thing. We tell you what to do kind of thing. So I just like the independent 25 units, and scattered throughout the city. And the homeless count, this is something that they just are doing now, is woefully inadequate. I did a survey one time of, I would go up to groups of people and say, you living unhoused? And if they said, yeah, I'd ask them if they were included in the survey. And I think I got 125 people that confirmed they were living unhoused, and I think 20 of them were included in the survey. So the survey needed to be multiplied times 5 to be adequate, and we got a lot more that are coming out on the street because they have medical emergency. Hey man, you're on the street.
Well, the only reason why I brought up the ministry piece, and Keith, at least he's tapped an idea aspect of it, that's supposed to be the passionate issue for people as a whole. And they're looking to fill their pews and this, that, and the other, and they're always reaching out to help, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they got something, you got something, and if you could sit down at the table and talk about this, and they're a powerful group, by the way.
Oh yeah,
the ministry is a very powerful group, and if they can identify with that, and if they're going to go along with what Keith is talking to aspect of it, what are they? You're helping them out. Because what are you? Are there attachments? I mean, are they going to be? Are they just looking at it for the money from a monthly basis, or are they going to all be a part of the process? Which would be good because there are churches all over the place.
Sure, yeah,
and
it would be good.
And people have a sort of a sense, if you will. Everybody has sort of a sense of respect. You got me?
Yeah.
A person come in a collar and it's almost like military, so to speak, or whatever. Or law enforcement or whatever. They've got is a deterrent, so to speak.
Right.
It's like they understand. So I think that we need to do something because right now there's nothing on the table. And
we're building a low-cost housing. We're building.
Yes, and we got these folks that are sitting here now, new council, and some are going to be there for 4 years, if you will, no background at all. Some are going to be there for 2 years, and all of a sudden we're going to build another bureaucracy. And people are going to be taxed to keep all this stuff going, and we're not getting anything. We're just getting at home, getting frustrated, just like we are today. We're frustrated, trying to figure out, we got to get someone to deal with this issue, and I'll be straight up with you. That's, with all due respect, that's where the person who's sitting in this seat right now that just got elected, that's what he did. He basically said to them, I could do it for you. And we elected it. No, that's basically what it all amounts to.
No.
See, and I think, and so that to me, as far as I'm concerned, was a part letting us know. That's why I'm talking the way I am now. And that's why I'm talking with you right now. He got the point across.
No.
He as far as I'm concerned, he's probably a super salesperson as far as I'm concerned. If he can solve all the problems, the issues that he put on that table with the people and he selected those people on his cabinet. And the people question those, but if he can solve those problems with his package that he has on the table, the guy right up front with him, he'll be another Roosevelt. If you hear what I'm kind of saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but that isn't.
No, but my point is that let's go on and say that's what we got on the table.
Right.
And let's see what can we do to make it work. That's what I'm saying. Make it work, okay? And so that's kind of like where we're coming from, and that's why I'm so glad you're here from Portland. You're homegrown and all that other good stuff. You've done it, and I've gone to school myself, and anyway, I didn't graduate, but I got enough hours to be a PhD.
Oh, right.
I've done the same thing, so to speak, but it's just that I had no one to reach out and direct me. My parents,
PhD, is that a pretty hot dude?
well, but that's it. Our education system is another issue. We keep talking. Well, that's another issue. We won't get caught up in that deal. But the bottom line is that I'm so glad that you're here. And I think
thanks
you got
for having
something.
us.
John is nodding the right way, and I think that if we can just get some folks to listen to what you have to say, and we're doing this way from a visual standpoint, because you're having to just go through the process to talk to people as opposed to talking to the person who's going to be making the decisions. It's not going to work.
Yep.
And that's why we're helping him out. In fact, we're helping Keith out.
Sure.
And then, and all due respect, he's hearing what you're saying, and we want the public to know the holistic who you are. That's why we did this particular piece.
Yep.
And you've got, as you say, you've got ideas, you've got background, you've gone through the whole ropes.
And I'm an old white man, and we
not.
rule.
No. Well, I ain't old. I'm young. I'm still fighting.
Good. Okay. I call it chronological enhancement.
Okay. That's a good one.
Isn't it?
But the idea is that, and we need more. I mean, it just really irritates me when people start talking about you're old. That they say there's no such animal. If you got the issue, you're young.
Yeah.
If you got the issue,
There you go.
and you're young, so hey, make sure that process is open. If I had my way, I'd have at least, excuse the French, I'd have an old man elected as part of the group every time. A slot, for instance,
Yeah.
senior citizen slot, a military slot. Just I mean, break it down where you're going to make some, and then pay them after they've done the work.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be neat? But hey, here I go with ideas. I don't want to get caught up in that deal. But the bottom line is that that's where we're coming from, and that's basically what we're going to be doing, and we appreciate it. You, as I indicated in the last show, John and I are going to have you here periodically, because we're going to be talking about the whole issue of making sure we've got good government and all this stuff about City of Roses and, you know what I mean, the whole issue of crime and all that other good stuff. We're going to try to get the city back to where it was, where people thought it was.
Yeah.
And a lot of those old folks were here now today, but they won't let them get involved in the process to a certain degree. But that's where we are.
Yep.
Okay, that cool with you, John? Any point you want to make?
No, I think this is good. It was fascinating to hear about your background. It's fascinating to hear about what you were able to do with the limited resources that you had. And I think it's a great example of what we all can do, right? Even if we have limited resources or if we have nothing, that we can do great things. And you were able to accomplish some pretty great things with almost nothing, right?
That's right.
You were able to go out and get some work done. And that's possible for all of us. We don't have to have the resources, the vast resources at our disposal to get a lot of work done. We can work with each other, we can work together, and we can accomplish great things. I think that's an important lesson to learn.
And that other piece that I really got excited about, folks who are considered to be homeless and nothing and all this other good stuff, at one point in time they were productive.
Hey, alcoholic, mentally ill, drug addicts, that's what we are.
That's right. But we got to bring those people back to the table. They're human beings.
Give them a safe place. And hey, the difference at Right to Dream, especially for a female that came there, you know, I mean, she's been there for a day or two. She's had shower. She's got clean clothes on. She's able to brush her hair. She's able to put her makeup on. You know, she's safe. And the difference in 2 days, man, it's like, wow, you know, and we as a culture are failing to protect everybody, you know. And and here's another thing I want to bring up just a little bit. Okay, I ride a bicycle, okay, and I get cut off all the time in traffic, okay, and I get cut off in a crosswalk when I'm walking too. I want to carry a paintball gun, okay, I want to mark that car that cut me off, okay?
Boy, that's an issue.
Okay, I want to take away this police enforcement. You talked about that and increasing the budget. I want the people with paintball guns to be able to enforce the law on these drivers and also on these graffiti people. Okay? Open warfare on graffiti people. Okay, and also rude car drivers, because we don't have any way to get back. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, this one family that she was way into the, you know, right-hand turn and all this and pedestrian rights and all this. Her daughter got run over. Okay, her daughter knew the rights and she was right. Her daughter was right. You know, but she got run over. Okay? No, we need to fight back. Okay, because car drivers are rude. Very few are. But I want a paintball gun. So that, anyway, thanks for the show, Bruce. I am a radical, well, I'll admit that.
I'll just group it in from the standpoint, we're all stressed out.
Hey. Oh, yeah. And
we're looking for some folks for some solutions.
Yep.
Okay, I can tell you about some of my experiences. And here I am, as you said, here I am sitting there doing a show. At my age, I should be fishing or something, doing something at leisure, visiting the grandkids and taking it easy, you know what I'm saying? Sitting in the park, you know, maybe having a cup of coffee downtown and listening to some of the lecturers like John, young man like John, talking and say, "Oh, young man, come here. Sit at this table here. Now, let's talk about what you're talking about." And I raise my hand. He does. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't have that anymore.
Well, the only place we can really meet other people is bars or churches.
Yeah.
So,
on that particular note, that's great. So here we are visiting here at the Oregon Voters Digest. We'll see you next week, folks. Have a good one.
Thank you.